right now. You are under the influence of anxiety. You are making decisions based on how anxiety wants you to decide. Today we're going to dive deep into what's really going on and why you're not making as much progress as you really want to over anxiety. Welcome to another important video on my channel, my friends. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please subscribe now and hit the bell for all the notifications for my future videos. And let's get into this important topic. And the topic is that we must realize that right now when we have a thought, it's not like we're really having that thought. The truth is that we are having a thought based on what anxiety wants us to think. It is not that we are behaving a certain way and behaving in line with who we really are and what we want to do. When we behave right now, we are under the influence of anxiety. Now, was this a major stepping stone during my anxiety recovery? I believe it was, because when I recognized that it wasn't that I was really thinking, I was actually having these intrusive ideas based on what anxiety wanted me to think like, based on what anxiety wanted my decision to be. And I started to go, wow, okay, well, I no longer have to act in line with what anxiety is telling me. And this doesn't happen overnight. Neuroplasticity is more like a marathon rather than a sprint. So you have to understand, to change our brains, to change the neural wiring in our brains, it's going to take some time. But we have to start somewhere, right? And I started to go, well, that's an idea that is more of a replay than an actual idea or a thought that I am creating. There's a big difference between replaying thoughts and thinking. And so anxiety makes us believe that we're thinking when in truth we're actually just replaying the same ideas over and over again. And we start to go, well, I started to go, well, wow, that's not really the thought that I believe is true about myself and life. Anxiety was this filter system. And when I was approaching certain environments and places in unfamiliar territory, anxiety came up and said, no, we can't have this. We can't have you move into unknown territory. You have to stay within your comfort zones of thinking, comfort zones of wording, what you say, comfort zones of acting and imagining, identity. And I started to go, all of this is under the same umbrella. It's under the anxiety umbrella. And I started to go, well, I'm taking this umbrella and I'm going to put it right over here. And I'm just going to watch what it does from one moment to the next. And as I went about my day, I started to become more of an observer of these replayed ideas and these replayed things based on anxiety's influence. And when I started to become more of a person that looked at what was going on, observed what was going on, I was no longer reactive. My friend, what you have to understand right now is that anxiety isn't the problem. The problem is in your reaction to being under the influence of anxiety. So if anxiety spreads a thought in your mind, you have to come towards it from an observer's perspective to go, this is under the umbrella of anxiety. There is no truth behind it. However, anxiety wants me to believe that worry is in fact keeping me safe in some regards. And that is again under the influence of anxiety. So once we start to separate ourselves from anxiety's direction and the direction of my future self, basically living out your present based on who you want to be in the future. This is so crucial because now we start to disassociate ourselves from an anxiety identity. You need to understand that if you're having an anxious thought, for example, over an anxiety symptom, there is no truth within that thought. The truth is that The sensation or symptom is based on fatigue, based on PTSD, based on what the unconscious mind has stored in that infinite memory system. And there is no truth in it. There is just a perception coming from anxiety, right? And so our goal today is to go, I'm no longer going to live under the influence of anxiety. I am going to start observing. This is a very powerful thing that you can start doing right now. Observing takes the power of anxiety away, takes its power away. So I can observe a thought, I can observe a sensation, I can observe a symptom, I can observe a mental image that arises, I can observe past behaviors. I don't have to be these things anymore, right? I can start to question these things, and questioning anxiety's influence is also very, very powerful. So you start to question a thought, you start to question a symptom, you start to question the ideas around, wow, do I really have a physical illness? Is this symptom related to it? Am I going crazy? Is anxiety going to stick around forever? Am I a negative influence on other people? None of this holds any truth. However, anxiety makes it feel like it is true, right? And this is a more than anxiety moment if I've ever said so on any of these videos. So the idea today is to begin to become the observer, to begin to question things that you feel are under the umbrella of anxiety. And as this happens more often, we are going to start separating ourselves from the past. The past is in the past, and we can, as we become the observer and as we become the questioner of these anxiety influences, we can start to question what we did in the past or what other people did in the past. And we no longer have to be under the influence that our past was very traumatic. What tends to happen is that there's a lightness that tends to show up, right? There's a lightness that tends to show up, and the lightness comes with the idea that the past had to happen the way it did in order for me to evolve into a person that I probably would never have become if it wasn't for these difficult situations, if it wasn't for anxiety. And what tends to happen later down in the road of anxiety recovery is we start to go, man, I am so grateful for the anxiety disorder. I mean, you may not be there right now, and that is fine. You are in the chapter that you need to be, but we start to go, without anxiety, I wouldn't be so appreciative of all these things. I wouldn't be able to think differently than society, right? I wouldn't be the person that I am today, yada, yada, yada. And you come from this place of appreciation and gratitude rather than fear and stress. Stress is not keeping you safe. Fear does not keep you safe. Anxiety does not keep you safe. Worry does not keep you safe. Overthinking does not keep you safe. The truth is, all of this is coming from the same influence of stress. These stress hormones are trying to make you feel like there's some kind of a threat, when in fact there really isn't, right? And the quicker we understand this, the quicker we can heal anxiety. Now, the most important part of this video. What is the greatest message that spoke to you from this video? I know I was really passionate during this video, but I really wanted to portray these ideas of anxiety influence onto you right now so that you can see that you're not really living a truth. You're living based on the influences of anxiety. So what was the message for you today? Go ahead and comment below, my friends. And always remember that you are more than anxiety. And if you want to learn more about any of my anxiety recovery programs, head over here. I love you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.